Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Entitled Parents. Story 1. Coming to terms with the fact that my mother is high on the narcissism scale. When I was in college and early 20s, I like many grew and evolved into a different person than my parents. When I graduated college, I moved out of state. I would miss my parents a lot, but when they would come to visit me every once in a while, I would become so irritable and difficult with them. When they left, I'd feel so guilty about my attitude while they were with me. I couldn't understand it. Now that I'm older and wiser and have started therapy, I've had an epiphany. My mother is a narcissist. When I became an adult, she found it hard to respect me as an adult, and that's why I became so irritable every time she'd come to visit. Grandiosity and arrogance. My parents are very religious. They raised me to believe we were better than everyone else because we had found the one, true religion, and anyone who wasn't as devout as us was immature and not someone to waste my time with. As I got older, I became friends with people who grew up very differently than me. When my parents would come to visit, my mom would dismiss these friends or treat them poorly. Now I can see that she is hypercritical of anyone who lives differently than her or holds a different opinion than her. Entitlement. It is my mom's way or the highway. Having a baby? Got to have the shower she wants. Christmas? Everyone is going to her church and doing the activities she wants after. Don't even think about visiting your in-laws for the holidays, she gets first dibs. Giving birth? She will cry and beg the nurses to let her in the room even though you told her you only wanted your spouse in the room, and after the fact tell you how selfish you are for blocking her from meeting her grandchild the moment he entered the world. True story. Lack of empathy. To the above, it doesn't matter if you're tired, you've been working all day, you are going through a hard time. She doesn't want to hear it. You better show up where she wants and when she wants with a smile on your face and no complaints. Don't expect her to put herself in the shoes of others, she can only relate to things she's personally been through. Contemptuousness. She is going to make condescending remarks, and if you want to keep the peace, you best learn how to accept them and move on. A little overweight? Didn't have time to do your hair? She'll let you know. Ordering something at the restaurant that she thinks sounds gross? She will say so in front of the server. Setting a boundary? She will lash out with insults and attacks on your character. Emotional immaturity. Don't expect her to be able to have an adult conversation or accept boundaries. The moment you try to have a conversation about anything real, she will tell you it's no big deal and you're such a drama queen. Honorable mentions. Never asking you one question about your life when you're together or speak over the phone, but will tell you every minute detail of hers and will expect you to remember. Berating you behind closed doors but bragging about your achievements on her Facebook. Being only concerned about appearances/photo ops when you are together, unconcerned with real connection or making memories. Treating you like a child even though you are a full-blown adult with a career, a house, bills and taxes, and a child. Anyone else tired and beaten down like me? Finally putting 2 and 2 together about my mom has me feeling so discouraged and helpless. I'm not sure where to go from here. Story 2. How my wife ruined her mom's Mother Day by treating her like a mom. My Mill is an annoying person to say in the nicest way. She has extremely low self-worth, and she compensates that by forcing the world to go around her. As family who interact with her regularly, we are forced to treat her like a queen, every day every min. If we don't, then there will be drama, all the way from pouting, going to her room, fainting, leaving the house to full-blown breakdown, including saying why should I live on this planet anymore if no one cares about me. Yay, to see an old lady say she will kill her just because we don't give her few minutes of attention is a bizarre thing to witness. So it's exhausting to be around her, but what else can my wife and Sil do? She is their mom and they both try the darn best to make her feel special. But they would also like to interact with her as their mom too, not just as some out-of-touch royalty. They would like to crack jokes, chat about general things and share their problems, not having to be constantly worried what statement might tick her off. When they were kids in her orbit, things were fine as she controlled them, and that made her feel she is in the center of attention. Now they are married, have family of their own, and that she is not the anchor of the family, she has started becoming more and more demanding that we perform some elaborate rituals to feel her special. That's extremely exhausting. So to the actual event itself. Mill/Phil have traveled to our country and are staying with us for short time to help us with kids, as we all live halfway across the globe. My wife planned an elaborate Mother's Day event centered around Mill, even though she herself is a mom too. One of that included lunch in a popular ethnic cuisine restaurant. BTW, had she not planned it herself, there will be a snarky comment at the end of day saying seems you don't care about your mom enough to plan something for me. I was waiting the whole day for you to do something. Anyway, morning went uneventful as we had been pampering the grown-up toddler and Mill was quite jubilant. We go to the restaurant and I and our elder one go in to set up the table as my wife is bringing the others, Mill, Phil and our little one, in. My 2-year-old, the real toddler, decides to throw a tantrum for toddler reasons, but then Mill sees this beautiful garden in front of the restaurant and wants my wife to take her a pic. Mill doesn't care about anything and forces my wife to take several pics as my wife is holding a crying, fussing and kicking toddler in her hip. Having basked in the glory of being in the center of attention, Mill is satisfied enough, they all come in. My wife is ticked from the events but tries her best to be cheerful. Waiter comes in to take the order and right then Mill decides to go to restroom. My wife asks her to order before going, as kids will get hangry if we wait for long. Big mistake my wife did was she asked in a normal tone, a regular conversational tone instead of a pleading or pleasing pampering tone. How dare we order her royalty on what to do, that was strike one. As me and my wife are looking at the basil lion choices and trying to order for kids, ourselves, spice level, etc., we got absorbed into ordering without paying attention to the most important person. Mill wasn't the center of attention for 2 full minutes. How dare we? That's strike 2. We don't notice that and ask her what she wants. She asks if they have a particular ethnic dish, which is a regular staple we have almost every day at home, like a grilled cheese SW, that too in a indifferent meek tone. She was indirectly implying that she just a nobody, 'cause of strike 1 and 2, so she is ordering some peasant food. That was our cue to realize our mistake, prostrate before her, beg her forgiveness and bring the world back into alignment before things go down the hill. We fail to notice that change in tone, which is strike 3. Instead my wife suggests, Mom, we have that almost every day at home, so why don't you? Mill cuts her off saying, I know that, are you saying I don't know that? And storms to the restroom. We all are figuring out what the F happened and we finish ordering. Mill comes back and unloads onto my wife how she has disrespected her. We brought her to this country and ever since then my wife has made it her mission to do nothing but continuously humiliate her, and Mill starts crying. I quickly realized what had conspired, but my innocent wife, whose heart is only filled with love and not such evil games, doesn't realize drama my Mill wants. Instead she is trying to understand how suggesting that the dish is a regular staple at home is humiliating, and Mill goes, you are implying I'm dumb and don't even know this, you have ruined Mother's Day, all daughters do special things on Mother's Day and here you are ruining mine, and few other delectable quotes. My wife says again and again, that's just a regular thing to say to your mom, but Mill is adamant that my wife humiliated her by implying she is dumb for not knowing it's a staple dish we regularly eat at home, and storms off to sit outside. Seriously, that was the entire discussion for full 5 minutes. It was extremely bizarre to see a 60-year woman to throw tantrum and accuse her daughter 'cause she said it's a regular staple we eat at home. Normally we would run after her, apologize and beg her to come back, and keep apologizing throughout the lunch, which is what she wanted after 3 strikes, but this time we were so over this bullshit, having been through similar ones many times. We just sat and ate in peace without an extra side of drama. But my wife was heartbroken. She does all this planning, wanted to be a good daughter, wanted her mom to feel special, and in the end has ruined Mother's Day by talking to her mom as a mom and not as a royalty. So a 60-year-old woman started crying in the middle of lunch rush in a popular restaurant, all because we didn't give her attention for 5 minutes, while we were busy ordering food for kids. There are hundreds of such stories, but this one of the clearest WTF just happened. Edit. My wife is a very sweet person, who believes there is goodness in everyone. She has been annoyed by Mill's behavior and she had a tipping point, which I was actually surprised by. But being the good-natured person she is, she has decided that she will continue to make her mom happy, whether that actually makes her mom happy or not. She wants to be a good daughter and believes it's her duty to do that. She will continue to roll the boulder uphill every day, whether it reaches the top or not. It's her mom and she believes that is the right thing to, so I'm fine with it. I will not try to change that, because 30 or 40 years later, when she looks back, she will not remember what her mom did to her. All she will remember is what she did in response, and she tried her best to a good daughter, and I believe that will give her peace. Story 3. It's always my fault, isn't it? Hey! I'm a 16-year-old boy, living in Canada. Recently, we've had a huge upset with our housing situation, and ever since, my parents have been mean to me in many ways that I will be describing below shortly. But before I do, I want to cast your attention to before this all happened, when I was aged 11. When I was 11 years old, my parents were warned by my teachers that I was struggling to pay attention in class and would zone out for multiple minutes at a time. They suggested I take performance-enhancing medication to help me concentrate better and break this cycle. Unfortunately, my parents decided to only threaten me with it, without looking at what could possibly be causing this. Because my grades improved after this situation, they completely dropped the concept. Fast forward 5 years, I'm struggling like never before to pay attention. I can't look away from my phone when it's on me, and I can't concentrate at all in class, even when I don't. Back then, it was attention deficits that lasted a few minutes. Now, they can last anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes of a 75-minute class. I've been told by many this is an onset of ADHD symptoms, but I cannot confirm it with a diagnosis. For now, I'm just trying to push through, but not succeeding. My grades are worse than ever. And now comes the more damning part of this. Ever since I was 14, I remember my parents yelling at me and grounding me for being slow to do something or understand things. Over time, it got progressively worse. I tried to ignore it, but it went beyond just yelling. Screaming, long arguments, holding X or Y thing over my head and calling me lazy and useless for any slight inconvenience I cause/fail to act on, especially since our housing upset happened. However, they tend to act like nothing happened the very next minute after our arguments and bring up the bad parts of what I did in future arguments to shut down my points with yelling and using the "you're lazy" card. It's hard for me to not lash out at this point. They say anything I do is attitude and it's getting on my nerves. My mental health has been horrible since the start of this year, and I'm getting very tired of everything. School, people, etc. I know this thread was a long one, but I felt the need to vent about this, seeing as it's hard to be outspoken about such situations for me. So please, what should I do? I'm very lost. I appreciate you fine people reading this. Have a good Sunday. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.